My name is Erica Schroeder-Serta, and I'm with LivWell. And we are here to host today this wonderful opportunity to bring some information and education your way as you're planning ahead. I would love to tell you a little bit about LivWell, where we offer free information and referral services to seniors and their families. It is all about being proactive, which is why you're all here, to gather your information, get your ducks in a row, and that's really what we do as well, to help families navigate the next best opportunities as you're planning for your future. It could look like planning for senior living. It could look like getting together opportunities for help at home. It could also look like opportunities for planning for end of life and everything in between, downsizing, if there's any legal documents that you're looking to acquire, or perhaps getting in touch with some funds to access those, we can help navigate that with you. So we connect with you, we meet with you, we learn about your wants, needs, and wishes, and we talk about budget. That's a huge piece of how do I connect and pay for what it is I need to plan for. And then we talk about quality of life. That's really the most important thing. And we put all of that together with a plan with you. And sometimes that looks like touring different senior living communities. And so we can help you navigate which ones might be the best fit for you. We can help you navigate which ones might not be the best fit, not necessarily because they're bad, but they just don't align with what your needs are. And so we can help you really navigate that with you and your family, to help you put a plan in place so that you're not in crisis mode, letting someone else make decisions for you, so that you can have a voice and be the decision maker at any stage that you can. So all of this service is free to you. And so we are reimbursed by our partners in the community. And so that's how we help keep it free to you. But now I really am so excited to introduce a great friend who has a lot of information, and I really found it necessary for her to be here today to share with you all of the information that is just really fantastic to plan ahead and know what to do. And that's why she is the expert. So she's got a great presentation planned, and I would ask that you help me welcome Holly Katko.
Hello there. I'm Holly. So the name of my company is UConnect Solutions. And so what I do is that I specialize in insurance. Long-term care is what we're going to talk about today. Long-term care insurance. This presentation is put on actually by Mutual of Omaha. Anybody ever watched those shows? Marlon Perkins? Right, exactly. So I like Mutual of Omaha. So we're talking about insurance carriers, right? So when we look at insurance carriers, I like Mutual of Omaha. Number one, they've been around forever. And also, I really like Marlon Perkins. But besides that, it's truly a program that's good. They specialize in long-term care, and it is specifically long-term care. Sometimes you'll find carriers will actually attach life insurance policies to long-term care, and then it's just not the same. So, but you can have that option as well. I actually can offer any carrier that you're interested in seeing. So as we look at the presentation, connecting you to what matters most, the need for long-term care has a potential to derail your plans and impact your connection to things that matter most. Long-term care, right? And what matters most to us? Our family, right? Our family matters most. Our home, being able to keep our home, as well as our nest egg. You know, we've worked a lot of years in order to have our money. And how do we keep that money? And so many times long-term care eats it up. So who needs long-term care? So no one knows what the future holds. So people that are getting older, right, they need long-term care, but so do younger people. So when we look at people as we age, you know, we think we can do everything, right? You think, wow, you know, no problem, I can handle whatever I did, 20 years ago, maybe 5 years ago, right? Yeah, I can get up on that ladder. Yeah, I sure can. But I don't know how I'm going to get back down. Right. So if my daughter sees me get on the ladder one more time, it's not going to be good. And, and then for younger people, it's good as well. Accidents, injuries, we think long term care has to do with just as we get older. That is not the case. Something happens to you, you don't have long term care in place, it gets to be very difficult. I actually bought my policy when I was 41 years old. So, and I did that because I was working for an insurance carrier, CNA, and they had them to offer. And they said, well, Holly, you're doing it pretty young. And I said, yeah, well, you know what? I don't want anybody to take care of me. I want to be able to take care of myself, and I'm going to start now. And I also knew myself, even at 41, a little on the crazy side, right? So it was important that I have that insurance in place. This is very important for us to also realize that we have some common myths about what long-term care insurance is. It is not health insurance. It is not health insurance. Health insurance, as well as Medicare, those cover medical issues. So you go in the hospital, you go to the doctor, you go to the hospital, and then you go to, let's say you go to a skilled facility for a little while. It's covering that little bit of a gap, isn't it? That's what Medicare does, is it covers that gap. But long-term care, what it does is that insurance covers for the long term, 2, 3 years out. Typically, people use long-term care. It's kind of almost an end of life situation. It can be, or not. But and the or not means that there's also coverage for in-home, which is fantastic. Medicare is not Medicaid. Medicaid is when you don't, you either you buy down so that then you can go ahead, or you get rid of your assets so you can go on Medicaid. That is a program that is sponsored by the state. And again, we already talked about I'm too young to buy. No, that's not the case. But actually, you cannot buy a plan if you're younger than 40 years old. You can, but it's not going to be the same. It's built for people as they age. So where are services provided? Long-term care doesn't mean you have to go into a nursing home, okay? Services are available in a variety of settings. This is what I like about long-term care. It's available if you're in your home and all of a sudden, you have difficulty with cooking, or maybe going to the bathroom, or any of those daily living activities that you do. And it's like, you know what, I really could use some help in the home. Then that is what long-term care coverage will give you. Also community. So it does community outreach for you, and assisted living facilities as well. And then last but not least, nursing homes. Long-term care, this is why I want to show this to you because it's important. When you look at these numbers are not inflated numbers. Has anybody experienced issues with long-term care or have to pay for long-term care? Yeah, right? A number of us have. And we know how expensive it is. I mean, so I look at, let me just give you an example of my folks. So I'm from Durant. Anybody know where Durant is? Duh, right? Yeah. So I'm from Durant, and my folks are farmers. So I grew up on the farm. We had 1,000 head of hogs, 1,000 head of cattle, pretty good sized farmers, couple thousand acres. And so, we worked hard for what we had, right? Well, Dad, all of a sudden, he ran into a situation where he was in the hospital. Then from the hospital, he went into the nursing home, and he wasn't able to get back out. Now, when you look at the nursing home, so he went over, anybody familiar with Wilton Nursing Home? Yeah, Wilton, love that place. People are fantastic. Well, Dad went into there, and his room was, you see right here, it says a private room, $104,000. Dad's room was $91,000 for the year. And of course, they kept Daddy alive for 3 years, and it's kind of like my brother says, why? I'm like, yeah, keep on going. And Dad and my brother's like, no, you know what? It's time. So, but anyway, I digress a little bit there. My point here is that it is that expensive. And mom and daddy, growing up, they always said, it's okay. We'll just sell a grain bin of grain, just sell a grain bin, and that's going to take care of it. Does that make sense? You know what I'm saying? It's like, you have grain in a big old bin. Well, anyway, that was not the case. So they thought now it was getting to the point of where now we have to sell some land, right? It gets to the point where you have to sell a home. You have to, all these things can go away very quickly. That's why I'm such a proponent of long-term care. To me, it's not just insurance, it's actually a way of life, right? You're preserving your way of life as well as your family's. So home health aid can cost you $55,000, $56,000, assisted living, $56,000, $57,000, right? In a semi-private or private room. So this gives you an idea of what the cost can be. Financial strain. Families without long-term care insurance experience more severe financial consequences, just like what I'm talking about here. It's expensive. Many had to retire early, reduce their work hours, or deplete their retirement accounts to cover expenses, right? You got to retire early because you have to take care of your loved ones, right? You have additional expenses, and that's going to deplete your retirement income. Families with long-term care said that they were grateful for the coverage, which respondents termed as life savings. Now, life saving, you might think, well, that sounds a little bit, hokey, but it truly is. It's life saving for yourself as well as for your family members. One family member said long-term care insurance saved them from expenses of 24-hour care, which was $100,000 per year. Think about this. This is what got me going on it. What keeps you up at night? Becoming a burden on your family. To me, that is the biggest thing. I do not want to be a burden to my family. I have one daughter, and I don't want her to have to sit there and take care of me all the time, right? So to me, that was the biggest thing. I got long-term care coverage for my husband, and the reason why is because I don't want him to be a burden on me, right? So it goes both ways. So it's like I wanted to make sure that he didn't have to take care of me, and also I wanted to make sure that I didn't have to take care of him, so it could help with both of our qualities of life. Outliving retirement savings. Shoot, you save all this money all these years, now it's gone. Now what do you have left? Lost savings and investments, unplanned health emergencies. This is an interesting one. Unplanned health emergency. We don't know when something's going to happen to us, do we? We don't know when there's going to be a health emergency. But by having that fund there available for you, it makes a difference. And of course, not being able to take care of yourself, somebody else now needs to take care of you. So how will you pay? You could use your savings, funds that may not be available when you need them. You might have to sell your assets. You might have to sell some bigger assets that might trigger income taxes along the way, because now you're selling things that could be considered income. You can rely on Medicaid, but of course that means that you have to spend down your income so that then you actually have limited assets. And of course, they might actually come after you for estate benefits. So this is also an interesting slide, because assistance from family and friends when you don't plan. To me, this is a big one. So as we look at it, look at this. So 61% of families help pay for the cost of professional home care. That means my daughter Emily is going to have to pay for my help for that health care, right? So now what happens? 63% pay for care with money from their retirement. So my daughter, who works over at Unity Point, she has a retirement plan, right? She's been putting money into it. Now all of a sudden something happens to me. I can't pay for it. What's she going to do? She's going to pull money out for me. She loves me. She'll do that, right? Maybe, right? Right? And also think about it. It's like sometimes we think to ourselves, well, you know what? I took care of her. She's going to take care of me. Not necessarily, right? And I hope she doesn't really, because I don't want her to use that money. But when you think about just the stress of that, 48% reduce quality of life, right? We're talking about family members. 42% stop contributing to their savings. So my daughter, she can't contribute to her savings because she's taking the time, she's taking her money to spend it on me. And then 75% miss time at work, which means possible loss of job. 46 work fewer hours. And this last one's interesting, where they actually don't, they're going to have to miss work because they're taking care of you. And then again, they could potentially lose their job. So how will you pay? So you could purchase a long-term care insurance policy. And what it does is it supplements your out-of-pocket expenses with policy benefits to pay for your long-term care expenses. Protect a portion of your assets so that you can use them as planned and stay connected to things that matter most. So with long-term care insurance, it doesn't cover everything, right? What you're going to have is a pot of money. And that pot of money, it depends on how much you want to spend to have that pot of money. But it will be less expensive than if you have to foot that whole bill yourself. So why is it important? Long-term care insurance policies may be an important component to your overall retirement. So it's important to, and I know, many of you are probably retired already, but that's okay. I mean, you can still get these plans whether you're retired or not. It pays for a portion of those long-term care expenses, helps to protect your retirement assets, and allows you to spend your retirement the way that you actually planned on spending your time instead of paying those bills. Good thing to know is that, again, long-term care is not just for skilled nursing or nursing homes. It is for in-home too. And in fact, 65% of the people, of us, all of us, we want to stay in our homes, right? So 65% of us end up actually staying in our homes and having the benefit of long-term care. So what does it do? It helps with household tasks like cleaning, meal preparation, right? We have somebody come in our house and helps us. That's a fantastic thing. Help with personal tasks like bathing and dressing. Services provided by a visiting nurse or home health aide. Special equipment, walkers, wheelchairs, respirators, home modifications. So it helps with all of these things. That's what long-term care insurance can do for you. And then how much benefit do you have? It depends on really what it is that you purchase, and how can that benefit actually be given to you. You can actually get cash, so you could get cash right up front and do it that way. But typically, most people do a reimbursement. So you have you go to the Wilton home, and what happens is that then the long-term care company, Mutual of Omaha, pays the home, so you don't have to worry about it. And so then you just connect with the insurance carrier, and then they take care of it for you. This is a interesting scenario. So this came from Mutual of Omaha, but I think that it is truly one that we definitely see. So what's interesting is she and her husband had a long-term care policy. So they had a long-term care insurance policy, a very good long-term care insurance policy. She called me in desperate frustration because her husband wouldn't talk about his need for help. He wouldn't talk about his need for help. We scheduled a policy review meeting, and he was clearly 2+ ADL. So what ADLs are those things that can you do on your own? Again, going to the bathroom, cooking, cleaning, those types of things. So he clearly had these situations. He had multiple falls. He had broken ribs. He had a messy head laceration when his wife was out of the house. When she was out of the house, she left the house to go do groceries. She comes back and he's hurt, right? He's doing things that he shouldn't do, even though she tells him to just sit still, stay in the chair, and just wait for me to come back, right? Like my dad did this. It was I was out with him we were on the cement next to one of the barns, and I mean, I just looked back, and in a moment's time, he tripped over a little bit of something, and he didn't hold himself up, and he slammed his head right on the cement. And it's like, and he, of course, had blood thinners. So he's like bleeding, I don't know how else to say it, but like a stuck pig. It's like, so we quick take him to the emergency room, but it happens that quickly. And so she's afraid to leave the house, right? She's afraid to leave the house. She was terrified to go to the grocery store. After an analytical review of his coverage, so he's got long-term care, he's got the coverage. After looking at the coverage and agreeing that he was likely claim eligible, he said, "But I'm not just ready. I'm just not ready to have a stranger come into the house and help me." A very common sentiment, right? For people with or without long-term care insurance. I don't want them to come in. I don't want them in my house. Shoot, he's got the coverage. He's not going to use it because he doesn't want somebody to come in the house. Now, and this is where his wife's original heartbreaking comment to me came into play. I said, "Rich," that's my dad's name actually, the caregiver is not for you. The caregiver is for Barb, your wife. She needs to be able to go to the grocery store or have lunch with friends without worrying about you. We think it's for us. It's like, no, it's for them. Let's take care of our loved ones. We both looked over at his wife, who had tears running down her face. He agreed to start home care that week. Why? To provide for his wife. Thinking of others makes a huge difference. So that's the end of the presentation. If you have an interest in long-term care, let me know. I provide free quotes, or we can take a look at things to see whether or not it's of interest to you. And that's about it. Thank you so much.